This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now, where we bring you the 3 E's: educate, empower, and engage. I'm your host, Harvey Blankfeld, along with our co-host, Shelley Brown, and we've been selling homes here in Southern Nevada since 1988. Shelley and I are also very proud to be part of the Real Estate Radio Network. That is a national network of local real estate professionals delivering timely, balanced truths about local market conditions. We have Darren Welsh, who's the general counsel at Berkshire Hathaway. He's a real estate attorney. He's been doing it for more than 20 years. One of the things we've been most concerned about is how the seller's kind of been left out of this transaction. Can you tell us if there's any updates or changes to the transaction as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, the biggest change is that we have a new HUD One. So if you ever purchased or sold a home, that was the form that you used if you used a government-backed loan. And if you want to know if a loan is government-backed, if it's a loan, it's government-backed, basically. So every single thing, every transaction used to use a HUD One. And now we've moved on to this brand new, great, informative form called the closing disclosure. But the issue has arisen that sellers... The mortgage industry and the escrow industry is concerned about sharing confidential information, and so what they're doing is right now they're stating that the closing disclosure is only going to be received by the buyer, which is very confusing because the seller usually would receive its own version of the HUD. So at this time,
the seller wants to know, how much money am I going to get in advance?
That's right.
Right.
And so this is the flux that we're in. You know, the great thing about real estate is that we haven't had any exciting news for, since the Great Recession. So what they did is, this is probably going to be the biggest change that we're going to see for the next 10 years. So we may peak, and it may not be any more fun to be in real estate after this. But right now,
now it's a lot of fun.
It's
right
so
now, the
much
CD
fun.
is super confusing. And so what you're going to have is escrow companies coming up with a form of a disclosure, probably similar to a settlement statement, which is what you use when you have a cash deal. And actually, just a few weeks ago, the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the new massive agency created through Dodd-Frank, they have come up with 2 more pages to the CD, which are designed for the seller.
What else do we see coming forward from this? I mean, we've got the CD, you've got the LE, which has to match, obviously.
The loan estimate.
Right, the loan estimate, which has to match. And then we've got that 3-day window. The other thing I would say about these documents is, and we talked a little bit about this before, is I think they're better overall for the consumer.
I agree. The HUD One, because when you're in real estate, as long as you guys have been doing it, you look at the HUD One and you can actually see a story. And you can tell on the HUD One if there's an error immediately, whereas a consumer may have looked at it and said, I can't make out this from Adam.
Right.
We know which line extra costs go in. We know where the settlement statement is. The HUD One will describe what your loan costs, et cetera, are going to be. But it was rather confusing. Not to you guys, not to the consumer. But the new CD, it's 5 pages long, and it's way clearer when it comes to just if you are buying or selling a home only 3 times in your whole life, you can understand the CD. It literally will describe out the amount of your loan, your payment, what your impounds are, which is your principal and interest and taxes, etc. In addition, it will show you that in 4 years there will be a balloon, or, for example, a modification of your interest rate can change. None of that was ever on the HUD One. It simply said you're borrowing $200,000. It didn't say the interest rate.
Right.
It just said it did say the closing costs. It did say how much your point was to borrow the money, etc. So the CD should work out in the big picture.
You've been listening to Las Vegas Real Estate Now with hosts Harvey Blankfeld and Shelley Brown. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on News Talk 720 KDWN.